So hi, Doc. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And
Excellent.
welcome to the Diverse Creative Podcast.
I'm glad to be here so far.
It's an amazing thing that I actually got to catch you because we are at Clarens Backpackers up in the beautiful mountains of the Free State, and you're all the way from the US. What part of the US?
Well, originally from Mississippi and Georgia. I've
Okay.
been based in Canada for many, many years now.
Okay, all right. And I'm sure that like where you're from has in some way affected the sound of your music. Obviously, I got a sneak peek last night. It's the first time I got to meet you. I've been wanting to meet you for many years because I know kind of the vibe of what you're about, and it's very much my bluesy jazz style that I love so very much. So tell me a little bit about your music and your perspective.
Well, I'm realizing now after doing it for 53 years of shows that I'm one of the last of the storytelling tradition in the Southern tradition. Not just blues players, but country players and all sorts of entertainers or storytellers. They played musical accompaniment to their stories in a sense. So for many years, I thought my influences were, people like Charlie Patton as a guitar player, and Big Joe Williams, and Chet Davenport as a harmonica player, things like that. But then I realized now that really my influences were guys like Gamble Rogers, who was a Florida honky-tonk player that died way too young that I used to just love, to hear him play and perform. Jerry Reed told stories. I never played country music like that, but the storytelling aspect made a deep impression on me. Then opening for Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, maybe a couple hundred shows with those guys and knowing them well. Brownie told stories every night. And the way those guys performed, part of that has stayed with me on a subconscious level, I suppose. But I'm discovering myself. Like, oh, those guys are really my influences.
Part of your soul, little
Part
did
of
you
my
know.
soul. Yeah, really, more so than the actual guitar playing and things like that.
And for me, I mean, that's a huge thing because I very much do a similar thing with my music. I'm very much a storyteller, and that I'm a lyricist first and foremost, and any instrumentals that I've learned along the way has been to back up the stories that I tell. So I do understand that that's a dying art form in a sense. I say dying, I mean, hopefully not dying because people like
Yeah.
yourself are keeping it alive and well, and you're traveling the world keeping that tradition alive and well.
I've never looked at it as a tradition before, really. It's just something I do. And I've been in a folk tradition, and a blues tradition, and a rock tradition. It varies depending on the marketing and what but yeah, it stays very much the same. I do that too. I write stories. I collect stories, really. I collect stories everywhere I go. That's the bonus of being a traveling musician is that
It's a very bardic thing, hey?
you roll into a town and people that you have never met before sit down and tell you their life stories.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they tell you stuff they wouldn't tell their husbands or wives
their
or
therapist.
therapists. They tell you everything. The bare bones stuff, how they killed Billy and threw him off the bridge.
And you're like, good Lord, I'm going home with this.
I gotta write this down.
Yeah, absolutely. Storytelling gold for sure.
So,
And I mean, we were discussing last night, and this is your 10th year performing here in South Africa, and you come back annually,
I do.
which
yeah.
is, and that's an amazing, amazing thing to do all the way from Canada. Where else in the world do you generally circulate?
I'm doing a lot of work in Ireland, UK now, so they're part of my yearly circuit. I'm 5 years into playing there every year as well. And, for something for musicians, go someplace to play, you should intend on coming back. No matter how big or how small the show is, you want to leave and you want people to be saying, well, are you coming back next year? Or are you coming back when? When can we get you? When you travel, it's an investment. The first tour, usually. You're meeting new people, finding the places, you're seeing what's what, how you can manage a tour. And if you don't come back the second year, you've wasted a lot of effort. Second year, you know the places that are better, you know some people can help you, you've got a little team. Third year, it starts to roll. And for those of us who just make a living playing live shows, which I do, I don't do anything else except travel and live shows. Damn, I better come back next year, I need to work.
That is such amazing advice because I think especially for up-and-coming musicians to know how to find your feet in that environment and how to learn the ropes. It's not like it's not like we get a guide, It's not
No,
like
there's
someone
no
dishes
there's
out
no
a
manual
guidebook,
that comes with it, really. And the ones that are out there are pretty fraudulent little things. You do have to find your way. You have to be a people person in a sense. Nobody is managers or agents anymore. I mean, really.
It's not a thing.
It's,
No, we're everything, guys. If you don't know by now.
We're at this stage in the music industry where there's very wealthy musicians, and then there's people who make nothing. And there's this tiny little wedge in the middle, the middle class of music.
Yeah, that's where we live.
That we occupy, and it's not populated with agents and managers, unfortunately.
No, definitely not. And if it were, we wouldn't make anything. That's the honest truth about it, because we'd be dishing out everything we did make to agents.
I'm sort of ready to do that now. I like just to stay and write songs all day instead of having to stop and do admin, which is what I do. It's the less exciting part of being a full-time traveling artist. Is like, oh, I got to stop and see if there's a Wi-Fi signal and check my email and send this guy a letter.
The less glamorous side of what people imagine musicians do with their lives.
Yeah, that's not glamorous at all. So I don't think so, at least.
No, not at all. And how have you found touring here in South Africa comparatively to touring in other places in the world?
Well, when I first came here 10 years ago, people didn't know how to tour.
Yeah,
The scene has changed quite a bit. I come in with a packaged tour. So what I do with my tours is I design them, I package them, I market them, and then I play them. And I come in and I do, here, 60 shows in 70 days. Bap. You don't have downtime. You work every night somewhere. If you do have downtime, you try and factor it into your shows.
And your admin.
and people let you know eventually. I mean, after 10 years, I know people in almost every little dorpy.
Yeah.
And so there's hardly anywhere I can't stop for coffee or spend a night somewhere if I'm stranded between shows.
The fact that you know the word dorpy is just like proof to that.
I play all the little dorpies. I play gas stations, You can't be afraid what you're going to do with that Tuesday night. It's Tuesday night, you're in Beaufort West, and you got that gap to make, and are you going to make gas and time on it? What are you going to do with that day if you get there a day early?
Yeah.
You might as well stop and play at the gas station. And there is a gas station you can play in Beaufort West.
It's good to know. Should I ever tour that way?
I think it's an Imperial Esso or something. Anyway, yeah.
That's amazing. And I honestly, I know this tour in particular, you're going to be playing at Mandala Cafe, you're going to be playing at Myth, which is in Hilton, and those are both great venues. Myth has got a really solid following of people, and I know that show is going to be fantastic, and Mandala Cafe also, that's my home ground. So really good people and hopefully very good support for that show.
I hope so. Maybe we'll see you down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's not far from home.
We need to get bums and seats for all these shows. That's the next big thing.
Well, hopefully this will help.
Live music has taken a lot of hits in recent years.
It's been tough. It's been tough.
South Africa is maybe a little bit ahead of the curve. Certainly in North America, the live audience is I think diminishing in some ways for grassroots music. You can always fill a Rolling Stones concert, but people aren't willing to pay $5 to come in and see a local band. Whatever.
It's something we've definitely been finding as well, so I can appreciate that. It's nice to hear that you think we're ahead of the curve. That's
there's a better demographic coming out to live shows still here. You can have an event like we had last night, and it had there's kids and there's adults and there's older people, and it's just a real cool mix of people. Families can be here, and that makes a difference for live shows. When you have it isolated and it's just a DJ playing that, their hump, whatever they happen to be playing that night, it's a different kind of music. It's a different kind of reception and a different kind of crowd. My demographic is dying out in North America. They're old. They are.
Gotta get the youngsters.
Now the grandchildren come to visit, or it rains, and I lose 10% of my crowd from a small show. You're playing to 35 people, and 10% of them don't come. Or
you feel it.
Whatever. It makes a big difference on the ground.
And I think it's really something so important for people to realize is that, what musicians like yourself do, what musicians like myself do with sort of original music, storytelling, and we're keeping alive stories of not just ourselves, but other people, right? we're keeping alive the stories of places we've been and people we've met, and we're sharing those experiences with people who may not have got there, may not have seen those things or heard those tales. And so to come out to a live show, you know, you're really catching something unique, not something that you can just go rewatch on Netflix tomorrow. So just like switch off YouTube, switch off Netflix, and come to the show. You're going to catch something you're not going to see again tomorrow.
No backtracks.
Exactly, no backtracks. It's the real deal.
It's the real deal, yeah. Backtracks are like cancer of small venues. You know, people like them. Instead of playing the Eagles on the sound system, they got Pete and Joe, and the Eagles are there, and Creedence is there, and it's sort of like a cross between karaoke and having a DJ.
Yeah.
And people can talk over it without feeling guilty. So, I don't know. I understand why they do it, but it eats away at our possible venues.
Yeah. How do you keep yourself motivated in that kind of environment?
Well, it's all I do, and I have bills like everybody else, and when I look at my Visa bill, Jesus, I better go book some gigs. You know, it really, you know, that's a great motivator. It's always been a motivator. I mean, I remember being 17, living in grotty little apartments with my pals, and we'd like, God, we got to make rent the end of the month. Yeah, can we get any gigs?
Quickly.
Get on the payphone. We used to go and use the payphones because the telephone companies would cut us off pretty quickly. Yeah, and get that gig, and it would always come in the day before. Rent money, yeah.
I made it.
Let's go out and celebrate.
There goes the rent money. It's a beautiful thing to hear that you've been able to do this as a full-time musician for the length of time you've been able to do this. And I mean, that's really saying a lot about your character, about your perseverance, and about your passion for what you do.
It's perseverance.
Definitely.
Not necessarily the best thing to do, but I'm what happens if you don't become a rock star. The guys I started out with either became rock stars or died.
Or quit and went and became accountants.
or that kind of thing, I suppose. But yeah, I stayed with it, and there was always chasing the carrot was always there. Think, oh yeah, you know, make this record, and it goes well. You can get that gig, and they'll manage you, and you can open for the Rolling Stones or whatever your thing would be. But you know, when those things don't happen, and you just keep working.
This is what you become.
And now, you know, it's funny. You know, I have friends in Hollywood and Nashville and stuff that are like Grammy nominated, or they have Grammys. They weren't just nominated. Grammy-winning people. They say, oh, how come you get to play in Africa all the time and go to Europe and things? It's like, well, I don't have a manager that gets in the way. I just book the shows and I go.
Well, it just is also saying something about the freedom of being independent.
There's a lot of freedom in it,
Yeah.
and I got to say it's been a pleasure, and you know I have no bitterness about lack of particular kinds of success, because other kinds of success have come my way in spades. I've got the greatest social network of anybody you'd ever want to meet. I mean, I know people all over the world. I can just, you know, my social life is now scattered up and down the highways. So I'm never away from home in a sense. I'm always in places, or usually in places where I'm connected.
That is the most wonderful, and that's the most beautiful benefit. You've actually touched people's lives rather than just, you know, ticket sales and box offices. And, you know, I think that's really important.
Places you're going to come back to the next year, and you're going to see how big the kids are grown, and you're going to see what the dogs are doing, and, you know, what new songs have been written.
Yeah.
And I get to meet players that don't play publicly. You know, some of the best musicians I ever meet are people who play in their own homes. And you come over for dinner, and after dinner they get their guitar out and they play you amazing songs, and they can really play guitar.
Yeah.
Those are treats. Those are treats. We're not unique in that we perform. There's lots of music out there without us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It does take a certain...
Every little town, they'll trot somebody out and say, here's little Susie, and she can do whatever, you know.
Yeah. She's all gold.
Maybe you should go to dental school, Susie.
Otherwise become like Doc. That's your alternative.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a really amazing thing, and I think it's inspiring for younger musicians like myself to meet and chat to guys like yourself. And I think we need that, you know. We don't have necessarily like like I said, we don't have a guidebook, but we don't have a group of guys who've been in the industry for 50 years that we can just call up and be like, hey, this is what's going down, what would you advise?
Yeah.
So, we need these conversations.
It's an ongoing
it's gold for
process.
us.
I remember being a teenager and hanging out with Brownie McGee, and he would, he taught me how to solder, how to fix amplifiers and stuff. And he'd say, if you're going to be out on the road, you got to learn how to do these jobs yourself. You need to learn how to change the oil in your car, because nobody's going to do these things for you. And he was right.
yeah, absolutely.
He was right.
Musician.
you do it all. You wear every hat, and you're not necessarily good at them all, but you know when you're not good, and you give it your best.
And as far as recorded works go, you mentioned a little bit earlier just recorded stuff, so I'm going to just bounce back to that. Do you have recorded stuff out there? Where can people find it?
Yeah, you can find me on all of the distribution services, that the ones that don't pay.
Yes, those ones, we know those ones. I know those
ones. I've been making records since the 70s, one kind or another. I was with Flying Fish Records in Chicago in the early years, and got to play with a lot of people on those, and then made my own records with bands, and I still release one once in a while. I like a digital signal usually. But I don't see much future in releasing records as an independent touring performing artist, actually.
At this moment in time, it's a little bit of a suffocating environment.
It's a loss leader, and I can't afford the losses.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, come see me play, and
it's even more of a reason though for people to come to live shows, because it's not something you can just go and stream. It's as much as it is good that there is some of your music out there to stream, so those of us who want to go back and listen again after a show have got the ability to do that.
Yeah, I'm greedy that way. I listen to all kinds of stuff as well. And I don't feel guilty, because I know, like, my stuff is out there for free too. So
yes, exactly. At this point,
So it's not all a bad thing.
No, definitely not. But it's definitely something that I know a lot of musicians are trying really hard to change that. I'm not sure if they're fighting a losing battle.
No, we're going to win. I don't know how, I don't know when.
But we'll win.
There'll be value brought back to human endeavors, human creativity. It's not going to be sucked up by AI. And parts of it are. You can.
People are feeding it.
There's blues AI out there, and except it hasn't got a heartbeat or a soul to it.
And it's not here in Africa listening to the stories that you might have heard last night at the end of the Joel.
No, it's not. It doesn't know those stories at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not telling.
So, just before we end this off, you were here at the Jamboree. This is my first year at the Jamboree. Your first year at the Jamboree.
It is, yes.
How did you find that experience? Because it's not quite like any other live show. There's no particularly set lineup. There's no sort of set times for anything. There's a ton of musicians, everyone from 4-year-old kids through to guys like yourself. It's a very diverse range of music, and like you said, very diverse and a really good crowd of people. How have you found that experience?
It's all about community.
Yeah.
It's the community of it's a musical community. From Bloom to Durban, I guess, we're right in the middle, and everybody on each side of it comes out to this thing. And I'd heard about this for years, and knew people who, we got to go play the Jamboree, and we're in this band, and we do this, that, and the other thing. But I've never been here at the time when it actually happened. So it is pretty neat. I met so many people last night that I knew from up and down the line here. I just knew dozens of people, really, which was great. So it's a very unique thing, and it's unique to the place. We're in a beautiful place here. You can pan around and show the mountains or something, but
absolutely.
Clarens is it's a very commercial town for the most part. Yeah. It's got a main drag, which is...
It's like a tourist town, really.
It is a tourist town. Yeah. This is where you see brand new Land Rovers decked out with no dust on them.
And then my car, which has more dirt than any vehicle here, might I add.
Yeah, I like that. So, but it is fun. I'm going to go down and have breakfast on the square anyway.
And check out what people watch at that point. It's a really good spot to people watch.
It is, yeah.
It's been like a really incredible thing to have caught this random and totally unexpected opportunity to meet you and chat with you. And I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
And I'll definitely check you at Mandela Cafe.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Doug.
No, it doesn't. It has what's called a Crevo in it.
Can you explain?
It's a fairly microphonic pickup. It's used by the National Resophonic Company now. That they've taken over that company, but mine's an early version of that.
All right.
So very, very slender, just basic electronic pickup with microphonic being though that you can talk into the guitar or tap on it and it'll like some of that.
Yeah.
I've actually had to tone it down a little bit. I put some tape on the front of the guitar and a little piece of foam where my hand hits the guitar, and sometimes you can hear like the tapping. Like, what is that? You know, it's my fingers hitting the damn guitar when I'm doing that thing, and I hate it.
I mean, sometimes those moments can create a bit of magic in the music that you don't expect.
Yeah. If you're able to do it, like that's one thing I love about South African guitar players is that there's a whole school of them that do this box beating thing, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're like
the box beating thing.
Yeah.
And God, I'd love to learn how to do that.
Oh, I've tried.
There's people have sat down with me a couple times over the years, and I just haven't had time or just, be able to do that. But there's a little bit of that in Southern guitar playing in America. Booker White and some of these guys that do things, but not nearly as.
I mean, there's like Rodriguez and Gabriela from the States who do that very much. That is their whole style. Hers in particular, he's playing more of just the rhythm, but she's like, her guitar is like.
Well, there's a Spanish tradition of that too.
Yeah,
I guess, the flamenco people bring most of that, probably comes from the Moors and the Spanish players.
It's crazy to watch that girl's hands. I'm just like, I don't understand how she's managing to get that whole, I can imagine it, right? But the physicality of doing it is another story.
Yeah, Newman does a pretty good job. Steve Newman too.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Unbelievable. I should hit him up for guitar lessons when I get down there. He doesn't like me because I published a story about meat. I had meat in it, so I'm on his bad books right now. He's like third generation vegetarian. I had a story about, driving someplace and there's guys at the side of the road cooking meat in hubcaps. You could smell it when you're coming up the road. And he was just so offended that I wrote something like that.
Oh my God.
It's
not like you were kicking the meat.
Yeah, it's like I was unfriended immediately.
Oh no. Wow, that's holding to you.
That was his line in the sand, his pornography for him.